Ghanatube so we have for model snowy. Masan so atenasibio nsem ahodo ekobe nyina no nsa ebeka ewo channel we so enti ntempa no so mennom enkwan no enja fofo nti ye be hakotie nsem ahodo bi ekoso ewo omaganimu na yaba.
Welcome His Excellency the President to deliver his message.
Thank you. Oh, sit down, sit down. Thank you very much. Let me say that this meeting is long overdue. Indeed, you are the first people I should have met after swearing in on 7th January. Because your association is so critical to Ghana's economy. You are the ones who bring the dollars in. And so we have to give you pride of place in terms of facilitating your businesses. And so I'm happy that we're meeting today. You are key partners in us being able to achieve our economic objectives under the 24-hour economy policy. And as you are aware, we inaugurated the Accelerated Export Development Advisory Committee, which I'm chairing personally. And I'm sure that FAGE is represented on that. You are the representative. Okay. So we'll hold meetings regularly, and we'll have the opportunity to discuss the bottlenecks that affect your businesses at the highest level, because I'll chair it personally. And the ministers responsible for the sectors that should create a conducive environment for your businesses to thrive will be in those meetings. And we will hold them to a checklist. And when we have asked them to do things, at the next meeting, we'll ask for progress reports to ensure that whatever we've said they should do happens, so that it creates better opportunity for your businesses to thrive. We'll work together to implement the National Exports Development Strategy so that Ghana can become a net exporter instead of an importer. Recently, we presented a budget in March, and the budget was meant to make a correction of a lot of things that had gone wrong in the past. And so trying to bring the macroeconomy back on track, reversing a negative 3.9 primary balance to a positive 1.5 primary balance by the end of the year. Has been one of the main targets of the budget. So it's reined in a lot of government expenditure in order that we can bring the deficit down and create an environment that is conducive to business. Happily, the economy is responding quite positively to the budget, and you can see it in the appreciation of the cedi, the reduction in the deficit, and general macroeconomic stability, return of investor confidence, and all that. And so I can assure you that in managing the economy together with the Minister of Finance, the Governor of the Bank, you can count on us to make sure that we manage the economy properly. Because if we don't, it affects your businesses. When the economy goes out of gear, it affects your businesses directly. And so I can assure you that we will continue to prudently manage the economy so that you have a predictable environment in which you can make investments, knowing that your return on investments would keep your businesses going. The recent appreciation in the value of the cedi is one that we have kept watching. As the cedi started to strengthen and the dollar depreciated, with our A-level economics, we all know that it's a balance between imports and exports. What it means is that it makes your imports cheaper and your exports more expensive. And so there must be a fair balance to try and achieve the true value of the cedi. Some people say, oh, it will come down to 4. But, of course, we know the true value of the cedi is not 4. And if it went as far down as 4, it will kill all your export businesses. And so myself, the governor, and the finance minister met and discussed it. And they think that the real value of the cedi is anywhere between 10 and 12. Luckily, the forex auction has brought it to just above 10, and it appears to have stabilized there. So I think that going forward, anything between 10, 11, and 12 as a band where the CD operates will be a fair value, both to encourage our exports, but at the same time not make imports so cheap that importers will flood our markets with toothpicks and, you know, biscuits and coconut and all those kinds of things. And so it's a challenge to our exporters to take advantage of the CD's appreciation, because then the advantage you also have is raw materials can be cheaper. Fuel has gone down, so transporting your products and all that will be cheaper. Port charges will go down. And so it has incentives for you. And at the same time, it has incentives for importers. But I'm asking the importers not to take advantage of it and flood us with all the, you know, Nkatia burger and things that they bring from other countries. Let's try on the import side to import substitutes and produce as many of the products that we bring from outside. Let's produce them here. And at the same time, let's produce more products that people demand outside, so that we have a better balance in terms of our economic growth. And so, like I said, it's both, it's an advantage for us, and we must take the opportunity. So I was happy when our speaker spoke about how you intend to take advantage of the improved economic environment. We must improve our export processes so that it makes it easier for you to be able to move your export products out. And so we'll be working closely with you to find out what the obstacles and hindrances are. And we'll work together with you to make sure that we smoothen it so that you can have a clear path to be able to export your products and be able to make Ghana's economy stronger. And so investing in export processing zones, you know, providing cold chain facilities for those who need cold chain to be able to do their exports, providing pack houses, you know, for exporters to be able to pack their goods properly for the export market. Those are all things that we need to work together on. And you mentioned the issue of credit. It's important to be able to give you affordable credit so that you're able to increase your production and thereby be able to export. It's because of you that in 2016 I set up the Ghana Exim Bank. We converted EDIF to Ghana Exim. Unfortunately, if you look, I've looked at the portfolio of the credit that has been given, and you are the people that money should have been going to, not to people who just take it and buy sports cars and things like that. If you look at the list of some of those who took that money, you wonder, I mean, really, that's not why we set up the bank. And so I've spoken to the chief executive. He'll be meeting with you, and he'll inspect your businesses and see what your demand in terms of credit are so that we can provide that credit for you. So working with the Chief Executive of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority and FAGE, we will sit with Ghana Exim and see how products, credit products can be made available so that you can expand your businesses. We also have to look at issues of standards, and so we also need to look at regulatory standards, the Food and Drugs Authority, the Ghana Standards Authority, to make sure that we are able to meet the international standards for exporting our products. And so strengthening the Ghana Standards Authority in terms of ensuring that our products are safe, you know, to be exported into other jurisdictions is something that we need to look at. I've been watching the improved performance of non-traditional exports, and I want to congratulate you. I think we've hit $3.6 billion, and I was very glad when you said in the next 2 years we'll hit $5 billion, and then in how many years? 2030 we'll hit $10 billion. That would be fantastic, and we'll start working together from today to make sure that we meet those targets. The African Continental Free Trade Area gives an opportunity for us to increase the amount of our exports to our other countries. It's been determined that Africa has the least trade amongst ourselves, and it is both because of our colonial past and also because of the export infrastructure. The export infrastructure was set up not to promote trade between ourselves, but to promote trade between us and our colonial masters. And so it's easier to ship things to London than to ship things to a neighboring African country. Happily, we invested in the new port, and so it gives us better facilities for our exports. And our new port is developing quite well under MPS, because it allows us to create a reefer service in terms of redistributing containers across the Gulf, that is from Namibia all the way to Senegal. And so if you notice, larger vessels are coming into our ports and dropping containers for other countries. And MPS partners are putting those on smaller vessels and redistributing them to Liberia, Sierra Leone. So it means that if we have exports going there, there is the facility for us to put our containers there to supply from Namibia, Angola, Cameroon, Nigeria, and other countries. And so let's take advantage of that in terms of our exports. As you said, Ghana is strategically located, and so we must take advantage of our strategic location. Ghana is the country closest to the middle of the world, where longitude and latitude meet. It meets just offshore Tema. And so our distance in terms of every part of the world is much of an advantage than other people who are in the far east or other people who are in the far west. And so it means that it's something we can take advantage of. If we pack our produce, within 6 hours we can have them in the European markets. You know, within 8 hours we can have them in the Middle Eastern markets, and within 9 hours we can have them in the American markets. That's an advantage. I mean, other people have to ship or fly their products from far down south, and it takes 12 hours to 13 hours to get to the destination. And so I'll ask you to take advantage of that. Under the 24-hour economic policy, we're developing what we call the Volta Lake economic zone. When our first president built the Akosombo hydroelectric dam, electricity was just one component of that particular project. The other component was to use the water of the lake to create Ghana into an agribusiness and agricultural hub of not only our nation but also of West Africa. And there are billions of cubic feet of water in that lake. Indeed, it's said to be the largest man-made lake. And there are hundreds of thousands of hectares of land that are uninhabited and inhabited along the banks of the Volta Lake. We think the time has come to take advantage of that. Draw electricity to that side of the lake, construct roads there. Already there's the design for an inland port on the other side of the lake, where we took the railway line from Tema to Mpakadang, and then create a special economic export processing zone on that side, so that you can produce your peppers, you can produce your pineapples, you can produce your mangoes and everything, bring them into the port, put them on the train, and the train will bring them straight to Tema and get them ready for export. And so the opportunities exist for that. We are doing the design and the planning, and when the time comes, we will invite you to be together so that we cut short for the beginning of the Volta Lake Economic Zone project. I know that, if we support you and expand your businesses, we'll be able to create hundreds of thousands of jobs for our young people, so that our young people don't have to take the risky journey across the desert and the Mediterranean to be able to reach Europe, because they'll be able to find jobs here. Under the African Continental Free Trade Area, I've been following the issue of the development of the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. I believe that this will revolutionize African trade, because it will allow us to trade amongst ourselves seamlessly without the bother of having to change our currencies into other people's currencies before making payments. And so Ghana is one of those, because we host the African Continental Free Trade Area, pushing for the Pan-African payment and settlement system to be operational as quickly as possible so that we can take advantage of it. I've taken note of your complaint about being removed on the boards of GEPA. GEPA, that's a sad mistake. How can FAGE not be on the GEPA board? I thought it was institutional representation, and if it is, then FAGE should be there. Yeah, so we'll take a look at that, and then also look at Ghana Exim. Ghana Exim is also institutional, so we'll take a look at that and make any correction that has occurred. And you can count on me. I'll be your champion because I'm in the agricultural space myself, not as an exporter, but I'm contributing to Ghana's food security as a producer. I have a farm where I produce maize and soya bean, and then I also have a farm for livestock, goats and cows, and then I have a small cocoa farm, and I have some plantain in the cocoa farm. So when I harvest, maybe I'll send some to you guys. So you can be sure that on 11th June, I will put it on my diary and make sure that I'm here. My secretary is looking at me, but I'll ask him to prioritize it, and make sure that I'm able to join you for the expo. And so thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Yahagotie ensem a ekoso ewo online for comment ehukimi ewo comment section na menjebre enkinkan enfama ofefe meka obiom se aha eye Ghanatube so open sem ahodo eni akese a fa wani twemu ewo channel we so there more reason obetimi enya nsem no anaso obetimi atenia ekoso quickly no is by subscribing and also hitting on the notification bell. Ebusian for modofo snow ni sisi ade makramo.